Betting on the orchard of tomorrow versus betting on the entire forest, the perils of a concentrated bet. We have previously spoken about the wisdom of owning a vast and diversified forest of businesses. Today, I want to discuss the temptation that leads many astray, the lure of the specialized garden. This is the desire to own not the entire forest, but to concentrate one's holdings in a single, seemingly promising grove of trees, say a grove known for a particular fast-growing species. Let's call this grove the Orchard of Tomorrow. Everyone is talking about it. The headlines are filled with its promise. The trees there are said to bear fruit of incredible sweetness and value. It's a compelling story, and it feels like the sure path to riches. Why own the entire forest, with its slow-growing oaks and its boring pines, when you can own this exciting high-growth orchard? The problem is not that the Orchard of Tomorrow lacks promise. The problem is the immense risk that comes from putting all your seeds in one single basket of soil. When you concentrate your capital in a specific theme, no matter how compelling, you are making a series of very large bets, often without fully realizing it. First, you are betting that you can correctly identify a winning trend before the entire world has already recognized it and priced it into the value of those trees. By the time a trend is splashed across magazine covers and discussed on financial news networks, its potential is often no longer a secret, and the price you pay for those saplings may already assume decades of perfect growth. Second, and more dangerously, you are betting that you know which specific trees within that orchard will ultimately thrive. The history of technology is a graveyard of companies that had a brilliant idea but failed to execute, were outmaneuvered by a competitor, or were rendered obsolete by a newer, better idea. You may believe you are buying the future, but you may simply be buying the most popular story of the present. For every enterprise that becomes an enduring giant, many others will falter and fail. If you own the entire forest, the failure of a few trees is inconsequential. If you only own the orchard of tomorrow, the failure of even a few can be devastating to your harvest. Third, and this is the most subtle risk, you are betting that the soil in that specific orchard will remain fertile forever. What if a new regulation changes the landscape? What if a scientific breakthrough makes the entire current approach obsolete? What if consumer tastes shift? A single concentrated bet is vulnerable to a single catastrophic event. The broader forest, however, is resilient. While one grove may suffer a blight, the rest of the ecosystem continues to grow. Diversification is, in essence, protection against the unforeseen and the unforeseeable. Now, let's contrast this with the approach of owning a global index. This is not a bet on a single story. It is a bet on the enduring ingenuity and productivity of humankind across all industries and all nations. You own the farmers, the energy producers, the manufacturers, the healthcare innovators, and the technology pioneers. You are not trying to predict which narrative will win. You are simply participating in the collective progress of commerce. The investor who concentrates in a single, exciting theme must possess a rare skill. They must be able to accurately value the individual companies within that sector. This requires a deep understanding of its unique competitive dynamics, its regulatory risks, and its technological roadmaps. It is a full-time job. Without this expertise, an investor is not making an informed decision. They are buying a compelling narrative at a price they cannot verify as sensible. They are paying a price, but they have no clear idea of the value they are receiving. The global index investor, on the other hand, is freed from this burden. They do not need to be an expert in artificial intelligence, pharmaceutical research, or supply chain logistics. They acknowledge that they cannot easily value 1,000 different businesses, so they own a small piece of all of them, trusting that the market, as a whole, will, over time, reflect the combined value created by this vast, competitive system. Concentration can amplify returns, it is true, but it amplifies risk in equal, and often greater, measure. The path to solid long-term wealth is not about hitting home runs. It is about consistently getting on base and avoiding strikeouts. A concentrated portfolio increases your chances of both a home run and a strikeout. A diversified portfolio aims for a steady stream of singles and doubles, which, when compounded over time, win the game just as effectively and with far less drama and risk of ruin. The question you must ask yourself is this: am I a specialist with deep, expert knowledge of this specific sector, capable of valuing its companies better than the collective wisdom of the market? Or am I a generalist, wisely acknowledging the limits of my knowledge and choosing to participate in the broad, powerful tide of global economic growth? For the vast majority, the answer is clear. The prudent path is not to search for the single most beautiful tree, but to plant your capital in the rich, diverse, and resilient soil of the entire forest. That is how you build a fortune that can weather any storm and benefit from the growth that arises, often unexpectedly, from any corner of the world. Your goal should not be to have a portfolio that is the most exciting to talk about at a dinner party. Your goal should be to have a portfolio that allows you to sleep soundly at night, knowing that your financial well-being does not depend on the success of a single story, but on the timeless, proven principle of widespread ownership.